Good evening, it's your host, Spooky Boo Rhodes. Note that some of these stories might be disturbing for some audiences. They involve cannibalism and certain dating apps from the internet, as well as classified ads from dark websites. Story number 1. The Tour Crimes of Alexander Nathan Barter. In October 2018, a Joaquin, Texas man, Alexander Nathan Barter, posted the following on a dark web tour site. I'd like to try necrophilia and cannibalism and see how it feels to take a life. If you'd be willing to let me kill you, are in the U.S., preferably be in the South, and can travel by car, contact me. He also posted with 2 encrypted email addresses on how to contact him. When seen by an undercover officer with the Texas Department of Public Safety, the officer responded, pretending to be a father with a 13-year-old daughter. Barter replied, "Nice, I'm in East Texas. How old is your daughter? Can we kill her?" And then detailed what they could do before and after her death. They exchanged a series of messages between October 9th, 2018 and October 19th, 2018 that included Barter's interest in raping, killing, and eating the girl. The accused sent directions to the undercover officer from Florida to Shelby County, Texas, and how to conceal the crime, including how to get the girl to travel without argument by pretending to take her hiking and instead bringing her to a hotel to kill her. He instructed the agent to purchase a burner phone, how to buy new clothes for before and after the murder, and how to claim that his daughter had run away again to the authorities when he got back home to Florida. One source says that Barter arrived at the designated meeting site with a knife, trash bag, cell phone, and a tablet. He stated, "I'm not going to change my mind about this. I really want to do this." Another source states that the authorities subpoenaed the subscriber information and IP logs for the accused, eventually leading up to Barter. On October 19th, Barter was leaving to meet the undercover agent and his pretend daughter when Barter was met by law enforcement officers at his residence. He had on him, as discussed in the email messages, a plastic trash bag, and a knife. Barter was to be charged with criminal solicitation, criminal attempt capital murder, conspiracy to commit capital murder, and criminal attempt at sexual performance of a child. As part of a plea bargain, he was sentenced to a combined 40 years for attempted coercion and enticement of a minor and distribution of illegal pornography. He is also ordered to submit to a lifetime of supervised release after his prison term. Story number 2. The Master Butcher. Armin Meiwes is a 63-year-old computer repair technician from Germany serving a life term for murder. Sometime in 2001, Meiwes posted an advertisement on the internet stating that he was looking for a well-built 18 to 25-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. A 43-year-old engineer from Berlin answered the advertisement in March of 2001. Other people had also answered but backed out. The 2 men made a videotape when they met on March 9, 2001, in Meiwes' home. On the video, Meiwes amputates the victim's genitals with permission, and the 2 men begin to eat it together. Before doing so, the victim swallowed 20 sleeping pills and a bottle of cough syrup. In the video, the victim suggests that his captor used his teeth to bite the pieces off, but he ended up using a knife as the pieces were too rubbery. He then fried the pieces up because it was too chewy to eat raw. He ended up giving the pieces to his dog after burning them. The victim was put into a bathtub to bleed to death while Meiwes checked on him every 15 minutes. Eventually, he stabbed his victim in the throat and then bled out the body, before dismembering it and storing it in a freezer where he ate it over the next 10 months. He was arrested in December 2002 when a college student alerted authorities to new online advertisements for new victims. The videotape of the killing and body parts were found leading to his arrest. Although Meiwes was diagnosed with a schizoid personality, he was deemed to stand trial and convicted of manslaughter. He was sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison. His excuse for his acts of cannibalism he blamed on his obsession of the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel and his broken family home. Later, the court asked for a retrial and a sentence of murder because the murder was done for sexual gratification. He is now serving a life sentence and claims he is now a vegetarian and regrets his acts of cannibalism. Story number 3. The Crimes of Mark Latunski. A confessed Michigan cannibal was sentenced to life in prison for the Christmas Eve killing and mutilation of a man he met through a dating app in 2019. Mark Latunski, 53, was handed a life sentence without the possibility of parole by a Shiawassee County judge after he pleaded guilty in September to the sickening slaughter of a 25-year-old hairdresser named Kevin Bacon. Latunski was convicted of first-degree murder, as well as disinterment and mutilation of a dead body, for which he received an additional 11-month sentence that will be served concurrently. He confessed to stabbing Bacon in the back and removing parts of his body, which he told investigators he ate. He said he cut off his testicles and ate them, and had considered buying a dehydrator to make jerky out of Bacon's muscles. Bacon, of Swartz Creek, was reported missing by family members when he didn't show up to breakfast on Christmas morning in 2019. Investigators found his car parked at a Dollar General store and then tracked his last location to Latunski's home in Bennington Township. His butchered body was found 3 days later hanging upside down from the ceiling of Latunski's basement. His ankles were tied to the rafters with rope, his throat was slit, and body parts were removed. Investigators said Latunski and Bacon met via the LGBTQ dating app Grindr. Latunski lured his victim to his home, where he brutally murdered him. Latunski initially pleaded not guilty due to insanity, but reversed course and pleaded guilty to murder right before the case was set to go to trial. Following the plea, Shiawassee County Judge Matthew Stewart was given the power to determine if the murder charge would be classified as first-degree or second-degree murder. He ruled that the killing was premeditated first-degree murder in October. Story number 4. She was fed human meat on a date. From Reddit, the author is unknown and deleted. My best friend's wife had a crazy story. 3 degrees of separation, but hey, they caught the guy, so I can verify it as true. She went on a Tinder date with some guy who invited her over to his apartment for dinner. For whatever reason, she decided that would be acceptable and safe, given the guy was a total stranger. Guess he was hot. I don't know. So she goes to his place. He has it all done up romantic, like candles and everything, and he made dinner and pours some wine. Halfway through dinner, she starts to feel ill. When she mentions to him that her stomach is upset, she gets fairly scared because the dude insisted she stay longer and have more wine. After he persisted and kept trying to get her to eat and drink more, she felt uncomfortable and left. She said he was upset, but not angry, more disappointed than anything, and he allowed her to go reluctantly. She gets home and vomits a bunch. It is late, so she toughs it out. But she feels sick the next morning too. So she goes to the doctor. They pump her stomach and tell her they will run some tests. They figure it was probably just food poisoning, but tell her they will call her if there are any findings worth discussing. A few days later, the doctor called her. She said he sounded concerned and told her she needed to come in immediately to discuss the test results. She arrived and the police were there. 3 cop cars, multiple officers, and forensic trucks as well. Ends up when they pumped her stomach, they found human meat. She had been eating people that this guy was feeding her. Police asked for the address she met him at. Ends up it was an Airbnb, and the name that was given was entirely false. The phone number she had called him on had also been disconnected and was no longer in use. Eventually they found the guy. I'm not sure what he was charged with or how much time he served. Just know he was eventually arrested a few months later.